Just insane, crazy news, and this story with James O'Keefe at Project Veritas. I do not use clickbait, so my title and thumbnail is not clickbait. There's been some leaks that have come out from employees, insiders at Project Veritas. Here we go. Oh man, I gotta tell you, just terrible news to report on today. Huge news as well. It's both the same. It's bad news and it's huge news. The last couple of days have just been massive, just turning upside down of the entire MAGA movement. There's so many stories going on out there. And make no mistake about it, the conservative MAGA movement, well, they're after us. And James O'Keefe, well, he's been all but fired. He's been fired from Project Veritas. And I'm going to go through some reporting that has come out on this from insiders at Project Veritas. You know, James O'Keefe is the greatest investigative journalist of our time. He very well may be the greatest investigative journalist in American history. He saved this country with his ACORN expose at the beginning of Barack Obama's first term, which I'll talk about later today. But we have some insider info on what is going on with James O'Keefe. And this is awful, awful. James O'Keefe is a very, he may be the only real journalist in America today. Really. And I'm serious about that. He's been through a lot. He's been put in jail. He's been raided for what? Doing journalism, right? That Ashley Biden diary got him raided. Listen to this, and this is being reported in multiple sources. And by the way, this is not the only major story of today. This is what I'm leading with. But there was another story I'm going to get to later in the program that was going to be the lead today, but this is upsetting. This one is really upsetting to me. This is in the Gateway Pundit, but it's being reported in many places. And don't buy this cover story that he's on paid administrative leave for some well-needed rest. That's BS. It's complete BS. And insiders inside Project Veritas have debunked that. So let me go. This is in the Gateway Pundit. James O'Keefe, the founder and chairman of Project Veritas, has taken a paid leave from the conservative nonprofit media organization as its board considers whether to remove him from his leadership position, according to current and former employees of Project Veritas. An internal message sent to Project Veritas employees by the organization's executive director, Daniel Strack, said that James O'Keefe would be taking a few weeks of well-deserved personal time off. That's the cover story. An image of the message was shared by a source familiar with the organization's internal operations, and its authenticity was confirmed by a current employee. When reached for comment on his personal cell phone, which I have James O'Keefe's personal cell phone number. He gave it to me. I'm afraid to call him on it because you call James O'Keefe on his personal cell phone, you're on the list. But I do have his personal cell phone, and in my phone, I actually have it in my wallet too. James O'Keefe said nothing. Well, let me go back. When reached for comment on his personal cell phone, James O'Keefe said nothing in response and did not respond to follow-up calls or text messages. Now listen to this. Through a Project Veritas spokesman, Strack later released a statement on behalf of Project Veritas. And this is what the second statement said, quote, "Like all newsrooms at this stage, the Project Veritas board of directors and management are constantly evaluating what the best path forward is for the organization." Oh boy. They're considering what the best path forward is. It did not directly address questions about James O'Keefe's employment status. There are over 65 employees of Project Veritas dedicated to continuing the mission to expose corruption, dishonesty, waste, fraud, and other misconduct in both public and private institutions, the statement read. To our supporters, we hear you, we care about you, and we will never give up. Wow. Does that sound like he's been fired, James O'Keefe? To you, it does to me. O'Keefe is his organization's guiding ideological force and on-screen face, but his status as its day-to-day manager has become uncertain amid reports of internal turmoil, lawsuits from former employees, leaks about its internal workings, and a federal investigation into its conduct in purchasing a diary stolen from Ashley Biden, Biden's daughter. And I don't think that diary was stolen. I think she left it behind in that rehab here in Florida because she wanted it to be found, just like Hunter left the laptops at the computer store. In fact, Ashley and Hunter may have just been, one was just following what the other did. This was just something they did. Let's see here. Strack's internal message to employees made reference to what he called a, quote, a distracting time, unquote, and said that a board meeting had been held to discuss the health of the organization, and that while we have not come up with final solutions yet, we have made a few immediate decisions. And of course, the big one is they've suspended with pay, for now, James O'Keefe. The message said 2 top Project Veritas executives, including the chief financial officer, had been reinstated. Multiple sources said the pair had recently been fired by James O'Keefe. A meeting of the Project Veritas board is scheduled for Friday, when James O'Keefe's potential removal is set to be discussed, according to one source familiar with the matter. So, this is insane. I know the immediate thought is that it has something to do with his latest expose on Pfizer, which was amazing. But now that we see that a couple of people that James O'Keefe fired were brought back and he's been suspended, something's going on. I don't think it's that. That's the obvious thing everyone's going to. There's more to this. There's something else in play here. I want to take your calls on this, by the way. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. What do you think is going on here? Have the evil forces against journalism gotten involved with Project Veritas and monkeyed around with things? Have they gotten rid of the greatest journalist of our time, the greatest living journalist, perhaps even the greatest investigative journalist in the history of investigative journalism in this country? James O'Keefe, our number 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. We'll take our first break. There's much more. Don't go anywhere.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
This is really upsetting. I mean, James O'Keefe is like Trump. You know, there's no one like James O'Keefe. Okay, got a little more detail in another piece here. Better than Geraldo? Absolutely. James O'Keefe saved America with his ACORN expose. I love James O'Keefe too. I think he's the absolute greatest. I mean, he is amazing. Now, I didn't say he's in jail. He is suspended with pay from Project Veritas. He's been fired, basically, with pay, you know. I'm still recovering, so I'm broadcasting sitting down, which is very, because I need to get as much rest as I can so I can broadcast for 3 hours. If I was sitting down the other day, I might have made it through the show. There's more to it. I got some more details here. Well, they have a board. It's a big organization. Oh my goodness. That's right. That's absolutely correct. We'll be back in 1 minute. And when I get back, I'm going to do a commercial for MyPillow because I got, this is the new MyPillow 2.0. I slept on it last night for the first time, and this is a new and improved MyPillow. So I'm going to talk about this when we get back, and then I'll get into James O'Keefe. Yeah, I slept on this last night. Now I had a pillowcase on it. I left the pillowcase at home so you guys could see the pillow. It's buy one, get one free with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at checkout at mypillow.com. This is like a Trumpy bear. I could just sit here and hold my pillow the whole show. Hey, Sarah. All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. And now on Monday, I told you guys on Tuesday that on Monday, I ordered my new MyPillow. Mike Lindell has a new MyPillow called the MyPillow 2.0. I ordered it on Monday. By the way, it's buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. I ordered the MyPillow 2.0, got two of them because it's buy one, get one free on Monday. Yesterday, Wednesday, it came in the mail, and I have it actually here in my hand. The other one, my wife's head is on right now. She's sleeping. And I didn't think it was possible, but Mike Lindell has actually improved the perfect invention of the MyPillow. The MyPillow 2.0 is it's unlike any MyPillow you've ever slept on before, and I have them all. I have the MyPillow that started it all, the original. I have the travel MyPillows. I have the Giza Elegance MyPillows. But this MyPillow 2.0 has temperature regulating technology in it. It also has the patented fill. You know, when you get too hot, your head gets too hot, and you flip your pillow over, you wake up. You get out of REM sleep. Yeah, that's right. That means you're not getting a full night's sleep. When I put my head on this, my wife had the same reaction last night when she put her head on hers. Just amazing. It is comfortable, it's more comfortable, and it does perfectly regulate your body temperature. When I woke up this morning, my head was the perfect temperature. I wasn't hot. It's absolutely amazing. There's a different material that he uses on the outside of it too, but it still has that patented fill inside. It's the MyPillow 2.0. Makes a great gift for Valentine's Day. And I know a lot of you already have MyPillows. You sleep on the MyPillow 2.0. Your other MyPillows, well, that's going to become the guest pillow. These are absolutely amazing. They make great Valentine's Day gifts. So go to mypillow.com, order your temperature regulating MyPillow 2.0. Buy one, get one free when you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. And if you watch on YouTube, I'm holding my MyPillow 2.0. I put it right here next to the control board. If I hold it through the whole show, I might put my head on it and fall asleep immediately while I'm on the air. I know some people on the air whose listeners fall asleep by listening to them, but I don't want to fall asleep while I'm talking with that MyPillow. But it's a great pillow. I mean, I'm shocked. Who thought you could have improved perfection? But Mike Lindell did. The MyPillow 2.0, buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane at checkout. All right. So James O'Keefe put on paid leave from Project Veritas, and it looks as if being fired is right around the corner. Callers on hold, stand by. I got another article. Twitter, by the way, is just going nuts over this. I got another article in Rolling Stone, And here is the headline in Rolling Stone about this. James O'Keefe put Project Veritas staff through public crucifixions, according to a leaked memo. And listen, I'm sure that it's tough working for this guy. He's got a lot going on. He's serious business. I don't know, but there's no Project Veritas without James O'Keefe. In a memo acquired by the Daily Beast, Project Veritas employees wrote that working for James O'Keefe at Project Veritas could mean being publicly humiliated by the founder and led to public crucifixions. Employees also claim that staff could even be required to undergo lie detector tests, that O'Keefe was a power-drunk tyrant, according to one complaint, and that the chairman, that's James O'Keefe, once took a sandwich from a pregnant woman because he was hungry. I was yelled at in front of jurors because he was hungry. Then he took the 8-month pregnant woman's sandwich. The account by an employee alleges, detailing an incident during the September 2022 trial against a Democrat consulting firm that O'Keefe ultimately lost. In the memo, employees also brought up the use of Project Veritas money to boost James O'Keefe's own theatrical interest. In December, Project Veritas said it provided a prohibited $20,500 in excess benefits to James O'Keefe last year to pay for staff to accompany him to Virginia when he starred in a production of Oklahoma. In February last year, Rolling Stone's Laura Jadid attended O'Keefe's American Muckrake book launch party that included a 50-minute musical theater production dedicated to telling James O'Keefe's story in song, dance, and strobe light. I was invited to that, and I did not go. I talked about it at the time. I did not go because it sounded like every other person there was going to be an undercover agent, kind of close to January 6th. And it just didn't sound like a Fed Fest to me as opposed to a party. And so I didn't go. It was in Miami Beach at a place that I always wanted to go to, too. But here's the thing. And I will get to the calls. We only have one opening on the board at 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631. It seems to me that the mission of Project Veritas has gotten lost here. That Project Veritas has been infiltrated by people that are not into Project Veritas for the right reasons. When James O'Keefe exposed ACORN, that was when he first became famous with the pimp thing he did with the girl. He saved America with that. I'm going to tell you how later because I don't have time to get into it right now before the break at the bottom of the hour. He saved America. And a lot of the other pieces he's done over the years have also contributed to doing a lot of good and keeping this country free. Okay? And this has probably been years in the making, but it seems to me that Project Veritas has been infiltrated and they're bringing it down in a different way than you would think. They're bringing it down through human resources complaints because the media hate James O'Keefe. When he had a story, he was always on the news. No more, not for years. He embarrasses the media. The establishment wanted nothing to do with him. They've tried everything to stop James O'Keefe and failed because what he reports is the truth. So they have found a way through the Human Resources Department to shut him down. And it looks like they might have some impact. And he will not necessarily be able to go start another thing somewhere. He may have a non-compete with Project Veritas that could keep him out of circulation for years. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'll come back to your calls and share more. It's the Steve Kane Show. A sad day. James O'Keefe being fired from Project Veritas. I'm Brian Craig. We'll take our bottom of the hour break and be back with your calls and more after this.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Yeah. Immediately. If you're donating to Project Veritas, stop immediately. By the way, that MyPillow 2.0 is even greater than I can describe. It's amazing. As soon as my wife and I both held it yesterday, before we slept on it, we were like, oh, we both had the same reaction. It feels so good. It feels so good. Just holding it here, it makes me feel good. I can't hold it during the show. It makes you feel very good. So it's buy one, get one free. The MyPillow 2.0, you will love it, okay? With my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Order it, makes a great gift. And that buy one, get one free offer will not be there forever. And I mean, give me a yes or no. A yes or no. Do you think that Project Veritas has been infiltrated? Do you agree with me? It's been infiltrated and they're using human resource complaints to stop them from doing journalism? What do you guys think? Yes or no? I think yes, and it's probably been years in the making. Oh, yeah. Steve Kane Show. Hold on. Steve Kane Show. Hold on. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. It's awful. I know. It's crazy world we're in, and he very well could have a non-compete that keeps him from working for years. No doubt about it. Yeah. Oh, I dropped my pillow. I'm still under the weather, that's why I'm sitting down, but let me show you guys. You can see this is the MyPillow 2.0. You can see it's a little different. The material's different. It's got that cooling technology in it. Buy one, get one free at MyPillow.com with my promo code Kane. This is amazing. Amazing. There's always a non-compete, Rome. Always. Always. It's nice. Buy one, get one free with my promo code Kane, Kane, at MyPillow.com. Depends. There's different sizes and everything. And by the way, this is the firm. We got the firm. But you can get, if you get them, and it's buy one, get one free, you can get them in different fills. My wife and I like the firms. You can get one firm and one not firm. Oh, I love it. It's awesome. You'll love it too. It feels so good. I mean, this is just relaxing, touching it. And I can feel that cooling technology. Like it's really hot in this room. You know, all this equipment I'm around. And my hand is cooler just by touching it. And it's in this hot room. And I put my head, oh man. I could go to sleep right now. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. This is a dangerous thing to bring to work. It really is. Absolutely. It's so cool. I mean, like, cool to the touch. Perfect temperature. I don't know how Mike Lindell has time to invent a new pillow. I just have no idea. How does he have time to do this with everything he's doing? It's amazing. You got to, Rome, and then tell me. You have to call in and tell me about it. I mean, this is, you know. They probably have non-competes because they don't want people to get in there and start working for them and learn how they do business and go and set up shop somewhere else. Mike Lindell never stops working. Oh, you post. Let me see if you got something new, because I got a bunch of other articles. I'm not going to read through them all. Did you tag me? Because I'm not seeing it. DM me on Twitter, the thread. All right. Welcome back, one and all. It is Thursday already. Can you believe we've been back from our cruise almost a week? Oh, man, our number 1-888 GO-CANE 1, just terrible news. It looks like Project Veritas is about to be brought down. You know, Project Veritas will not survive without James O'Keefe. It will fold. You know, just like George Magazine folded after JFK Jr. Died. Without JFK Jr., there was no George Magazine, right? And it's the same with James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. This is really a sad day. Really a sad day. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. My name is Maria from Florida.
Oh, hey, Maria. How you been?
I've been okay. How you been?
Yeah, under the weather a lot this week, but thanks for asking.
Oh, yeah. The same thing with me. That's why I haven't been calling. I see y'all went on your boat trip. That sounds pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That's good. Yeah, this is beginning to be, it's starting to frustrate me now that you're not going to have, James O'Keefe is, I've been hearing about him for a long time, and he the one bring out the truth, what the Democrat Party is up to, and the establishment is up to, and now they're going to, move him out of the way. It's just one after another. They just keep peeling off the good guys and bringing in the bad guys. So somebody got in there. I don't know how they got in there, but they got in there some kind of way to imitate James.
Well, they have over 65 employees, and a lot of them are kids right out of college, just starting out. So it's not that hard to infiltrate people. And they've been after the guy for years because of his journalism. And who would have thought? It's like they got Al Capone. They didn't get Al Capone on his real crimes, like his murders and all of that. They got him on the taxes. They found another way to go after Project Veritas and James O'Keefe in a way that is unexpected. And I'll tell you, one of this story about, they call it crucifixions, about they say he was abusive to staff. I would imagine James O'Keefe, he's a smart guy. He's very well aware that there are always people trying to infiltrate his organization, and he probably does all kinds of things to smoke those people out, including lie detector tests. And I don't think any of what I've heard is unreasonable when you're constantly under attack like James O'Keefe.
I mean, these days, everyone that's in any kind of these practices, in a business like this, you have to protect yourself, because the left and the establishment, man, they are like axes, and they come with everything. You have to protect your organization and yourself. And this is a testimony of what Trump been going through for years, and is now starting to spread. And it's not, people say, oh, conspiracy theories. I don't think so. This is real action that really going on to people and their business, and people have to protect themselves. So
that's exactly right.
Oh.
It's scary. Hey, listen, thanks for the call, Maria. Good to hear from you. When I say James O'Keefe saved the country, I'm not exaggerating at all. He was trained and learned his craft from the great late Andrew Breitbart. Remember what happened to Andrew Breitbart? He went to CPAC. He said he had all these tapes of Barack Obama. This is when Barack Obama was president. That was going to show who Barack Obama really is and his true associates. And next thing we know, Andrew Breitbart dropped dead on the sidewalk of a heart attack. And we never saw the tapes. Remember that? Oh, my goodness. But Andrew Breitbart trained James O'Keefe. And when James O'Keefe brought down ACORN, let me just take a few minutes to share that, because a lot of people have forgotten. Maybe you all weren't following these things back then. Everything the federal government does in this country is based around the U.S. Census that we do every 10 years. All the government funding, the congressional seats, everything the federal government does is tied to the United States Census. And we were approaching a census in 2010. And Barack Obama was going to he already announced, was putting ACORN in charge of the United States Census. And they're a very corrupt, radical organization, ACORN. And what James O'Keefe did is he dressed up as a pimp, and he got together with that pretty girl who dressed up as a prostitute, and they did a massive coast-to-coast sting of ACORN offices that were going to be in charge of the census. And they went, and he was dressed, most of you know about this, you look it up, you can see it's so ridiculous the way he and the girl were dressed. They went to these ACORN offices from coast to coast, east, west, north, and south, all over America, from sea to shining sea, from Canada to Key West, and went to them and said that they wanted to set up a brothel with underage prostitutes. And every office they went to, ACORN was going to help them set up housing for a brothel with underage prostitutes. It was insane. He had it all on camera, and they had the census taken away from them. That's when he saved the country. You know, if ACORN would have been in charge of the census, well, the census would have shown that there were more black people than white people in the country, no doubt about that. But it would have been the beginning of very dark times that we never would have recovered from. Now, that's not the only thing James O'Keefe has done, but what he started off with was so huge and groundbreaking, it's always been, I think, hard to equal or top it, but he's done great things. This recent thing with Pfizer, that guy from Pfizer, was amazing. And he's done many other things, too. If you're familiar with Lila Rose, who's one of the most prominent pro-life activists in America, became very famous. She would go to Planned Parenthood offices and clinics around America, say that she was a 15-year-old girl who was impregnated by an adult man who was usually 25-ish, and she wanted to have an abortion, and everyone signed her up to have an abortion without calling the cops, reporting this rapist, the statutory rapist, and trying to inform her parents. Well, James O'Keefe was the guy who set up the undercover recording devices that she used when she went into those Planned Parenthood clinics around the country. And that had a major effect that led to eventually the overturning of Roe v. Wade. James O'Keefe is one of America's most important people. He's as close to being equal to Trump as you possibly can. He is. He's the greatest. And I'm very serious about that. I'm not overblowing this. Those of you that are familiar with James O'Keefe and his work, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, when he did that ACORN expose, that was all over the news for months. He was a regular guest in studio on Fox wearing the pimp clothes, and the girl was with the prostitute, and it was, and it was on TV. And then when he would have a new story, because he had a bunch of stories after that on different things, undercover exposés, they would be covered on television. And then it stopped. OAN would carry it, a little bit here on Newsmax. But they stopped carrying him in the mainstream corporate media because he's not just a great investigative journalist and the greatest, I think, maybe of all time. I'm really thinking, who is an investigative journalist that is equal to James O'Keefe, living or dead, in America? Can you think of any? Woodward and Bernstein didn't do any investigative journalism. They had everything handed to them. They didn't investigate. That's a myth. He actually went out and did this stuff. It's amazing. And he was embarrassing the media because he was doing so good. And now they found a way to get to him. Wow. I didn't think it would happen this way. But, James O'Keefe is not going to take this lying down. They're going to probably get rid of him, or they may keep him dangling there just so they can keep him under control for a while. But I would say it's slim to none are the odds that he does not have a non-compete contract. When Project Veritas started to get big, big money involved, I talked about this at the time, that it seemed to me to be a problem because anytime something gets big, that's when things start to fall apart like this. When he was just a small operation, he could do his own thing, but because he got big and there was a lot of money involved and more people involved and more people that have a say in things, That is the beginning of the end. And now here we are. They've infiltrated and they're taking down America's greatest investigative journalist. Why? Through human resource complaints. You know, they raided his home over that Ashley Biden diary that she left in the rehab. Just like her brother Hunter left the laptops at the computer store. They raided his home. Did they put him in cuffs? And was he in his underwear? I think they did put him in cuffs, and he was in his underwear. This guy's been through a lot. Now, we're going to take our last break of the hour. There's a lot of other things we got to touch on as well. Ron DeSantis, by the way, has responded to President Trump's posting on Truth Social of the photograph with the underage girls. And there's a lot of other things to talk about as well, okay? This is just, I found out about this when I was doing my show prep this morning, and boom, I'm in shock. I am stunned to Project Veritas doing this to the great James O'Keefe. All right, we'll take our last break of the hour. When we come back, I'm going to jump into some more topics, but I do want to hear your thoughts on James O'Keefe and Project Veritas and what's going on here. It's not because of Pfizer. Based on all this that's coming out, it's based on his lifetime of journalism for the past, 13 or 14 years they've been after him, and now they've finally done it. It's not one thing, it's everything. It's the last 13, 14 years of investigative journalism. All right, our number, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. If you're on hold, stand by. 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian, back after this.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hey, it's 2 men in a truck.
Good morning. I'm man number 1.
And I'm man number 2.
You're right on time.
We're the movers who care. We can handle all your move and packing needs across town or across the country.
Don't forget, we offer climate-controlled storage.
I'm so glad you're here. My last movers caused me a lot of grief. Now I can relax.
We move people forward. Find us at twomenpalmbeach.com.
And 2mentreasurecoast.com.
2 men and a truck.
You're a Florida homeowner, and you know that real estate is selling for the highest prices ever. With so many listing their house, you want your house to stand out above the rest and to get top dollar. That's where licensed real estate agent Elena Castro comes in. She's with Ballesteri Real Estate that's been in business since 1964. Working with homeowners, buyers, landlords, and tenants for over 18 years, Elena Castro knows Florida real estate and has a proven record of smooth transactions, as well as top negotiation talents. When you list your property with Elena Castro, she knows the right listing price to get you multiple offers, so you accept the offer you want. And if you're looking to buy, she can help you with that too. Give Elena Castro a call right now. 954-478-5015. 954-478-5015. And get your house listed and sold for the price you want. 954-478-5015. 954-478-5015.
You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Sean. I'm calling from Boca Raton. I want to thank you guys once again. I've listened to this show since the mid-'80s. Thank you for introducing me to Dr. Appleton, Brian and Steve. I went in there.
Sorry, guys, I got to rest a little bit during the breaks because I'm still under the weather. So I gotta save my energy during the break so I can get through the segments all the way till 9. Yeah, guys, please like the video. If you're new, subscribe. You know, when you like the video, it tells that YouTube algorithm to recommend this video and my other videos to people that have not yet found my channel. So that helps a lot.
Open Monday through Saturday, appointments not necessary, and walk-ins are welcome. 954-973-0710.
Pain. When people go to the dentist, they think of the pain, but the biggest pain is the cost. Not with Dr.
Yeah, you know, a lot of you guys don't realize what people in this line of work go through. James O'Keefe, me, Steve, you know, people like me, we're constantly on guard against things.
4633. That's 954-922-4633. BrightonDentalCare.com.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
Indeed it is. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 46 years on the radio this year, The Steve Kane Show. All right, now it's Thursday. We're just a couple days away from the all-day and night Valentine's Day celebration at Anne Marie's in Pompano. Now, Valentine's Day is next week during the week. You don't want to celebrate Valentine's Day during the week. That's awful. You want to celebrate it on Saturday, right? That's right. So you can really celebrate it. We don't have to get up in the morning. And Anne Marie's has a Valentine's Day lunch and dinner extravaganza going on with heart-shaped pizzas. Their homemade raviolis will be heart-shaped as well. And they're having a Valentine's Day party Saturday night with live music outside starting at 6:30. So it's amazing. And that's this Saturday night, February 11th, at Anne Marie's in Pompano, which is located on the northwest corner of US 1 Federal Highway and Copans Road in Pompano. The food there is all homemade. It is great food. You hear Steve and I go on and on about the great food. It's all homemade. Grandma is in the kitchen. Grandma's recipes, the sauces homemade, everything homemade right there at Anne Marie's. Just the best Italian food you can find outside of Italy. I mean, it's just spectacular. You know, I remember the pizza. I didn't talk about the pizza at first because I love Italian food, and I wanted to try all these Italian classic favorites, and they're just spectacular. And then I got to the pizza, and I was like, "Well, the crust is magical. I've never tasted crust anything like Anne Marie's. It is just spectacular." Now, listen, this Valentine's Day lunch and nighttime affair, give them a call. If you have any questions, ask if you can make reservations. Live music starts at 6:30 p.m. And don't forget, ask them about their wines. They have a whole wine collection there. In fact, they have a VIP wine club, so you can have great homemade classic Italian dinner with your Valentine Day with some great wine. The number for Anne Marie's, 954-889-6600. 954-889-6600. When you stop in, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio. Okay, so now we're finding out that something that we suspected, but we now know is a fact. Another investigative journalist who is, a journalist who, during a very controversial time in this country, the Watergate and Vietnam era and the Iraq War era, GW's Iraq War, uncovered some of the biggest stories of that era. And his name is Seymour Hersh, one of the most respected journalists in America. And unlike James O'Keefe, he's respected by, like, the journalist. But now all of a sudden, they're calling him fake news. And he has done investigative reporting, and Seymour Hersh is reporting that the United States took out the Nord Stream pipeline, probably in an effort to escalate the war with Russia. But a lot of you may not be familiar with Seymour Hersh, and I am, and let me tell you a couple things about him. And this is on his Wikipedia. He became world famous back in '69 with the My Lai massacre in Vietnam and the entire cover-up. He received the Pulitzer Prize for that, for the My Lai massacre coverage. It was an awful thing. He uncovered it. All right? He covered the Watergate scandal for the New York Times. And then in 2004, Seymour Hersh, now again, this guy covered all these things. The liberals loved him. The media loved him. In 2004, he broke the story on the mistreatment of detainees at Abu Ghraib, okay? And he's done a lot of other things too. But those are the things that he's most famous for, and has gained the respect of the mainstream media that are now calling him fake news, okay? I mean, this is, I was too young during Vietnam, okay? I was in diapers when it ended. But I do know that we were lied into a 20-year war in the Middle East that there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. I did not know that at the time. Many of you didn't either. We were lied to by George Bush and Dick Cheney. They're criminals. They're war criminals. They got a lot of nerve calling Donald Trump out with the blood they have on their hands. These are terrible people. Terrible people. Okay? And here now we have proof from Seymour Hersh that Joe Biden and the Biden regime committed an illegal act and blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, took it out to try to escalate a war with Russia, to get us involved in a war. And they did this with deep water divers. And he's got the whole story here. And I'll go through some of it, even though the White House is saying it's false. Okay, it is 100% the truth. And, you know, I'll tell you the importance of this before I go into the details of all this story, which I don't know if I'll read the whole story because there's a lot of details. We know we blew it up, used deep sea divers by SEAL team. This is a fact now. This is not a theory. A lot of us suspected this. We talked about it when it happened, when the Nord Stream was taken out. But now we know it is a fact because Seymour Hersh is a respected, credible, investigative journalist who's been respected by the mainstream corporate media since 1969. And now all of a sudden he's fake news because he's got real news. He's in his 80s. All he cares about is getting the story out. So what they were doing, the Biden administration, was trying to trigger Putin into reacting. Now listen, Putin's not a good guy. I don't support the invasion of Ukraine, but the conflict between Ukraine and Russia is basically a civil war. And they want to get us involved in it because it's big money for NATO and it's big money for the donors. And we just had a 20-year war that is over. So the military-industrial complex, they need another conflict to make money. The 20-year war is over in Afghanistan and Iraq. That's all over. We had soldiers in combat born after 9/11. Can you imagine? We had soldiers in combat born after the war began. That's never happened in American history. So about a week later, we get another war. And the Nord Stream was supposed to trigger Putin to escalate, which thankfully he did not. You know, I don't oppose U.S. intervention in Ukraine because I think Putin's a good guy. They like to tell you that. Oh, you're a Putin puppet. You love Putin. You love... I don't know. But I'm here to tell you that this is not our war, that it's a manufactured war. Here we are a year into it. You mean to tell me that Russia could not overtake Ukraine? They have Ukraine pretty much, they could take it in a day if they wanted, right? They got Crimea to the south. They got Russia. You know, they could, boom, they could come in from both sides and Ukraine's done. You mean to tell me that a year later, it's basically a stalemate? I tell you guys all the time that I watch a lot of Ukrainian YouTubers. You know, the other day when I was under the weather, I was scrolling through YouTube. You know what I saw in Ukraine? Some guys playing basketball. Some young guys in their 20s playing basketball. If your country is on the verge of collapse, you're not out playing basketball. Skins versus shirts. You're in uniform. You're out somewhere defending your country. I couldn't believe it. Okay? It's a manufactured war that is being set up to have decades-long stalemate over there because that's where the money's coming from. And that's a reality. And the Seymour Hersh article that confirms that we took out the Nord Stream. Now, I know we suspected it. See, this a lot of times, but I know a lot of people will say today, oh, we already knew that. There's a difference between suspecting something and having evidence of it. It's like, you know, you got a murder trial, you've got a suspect, you know he did it, but you go to court and evidence is presented to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they're the killer. So a lot of these stories like this one, we suspect are true, but we don't know for a fact. And Seymour Hersh, the liberal journalist's best friend, they loved him, Oh, yeah. He had a big comeback during Abu Ghraib. Now, all of a sudden, fake news is calling him fake news. Who has more credibility? This White House, Jean-Pierre Biden, or Seymour Hersh? Some very long articles about this that I did tweet this morning. If you follow me on the Twitter, you can go and find them. You know, if you've got a son or a daughter who's in high school or college, who's considering joining the service, please talk them out of it. And if they insist, try to steer them towards the Coast Guard. Okay? Air Force, they can still end up on the ground in a combat zone. Try to, if they insist on this, try to get them in the Coast Guard. Okay? It's non-combat, search and rescue. They can still end up in a combat zone, though, and the Coast Guard can be dangerous. But I would do everything in my power. You know, we're in a situation, now I understand, and maybe some of you do too, why so many parents did anything they could to keep their kids from getting drafted during the Vietnam War. Now I get it, really, for the first time, now that we're in another one. Do any of you agree with me on that? I mean, you know, not long ago I'd say that's crazy. I would never understand that. But now I do to a certain extent. Is there anyone out there who could say that they would want their son or daughter to sign up in the service today and end up possibly in Ukraine? Not me. Now, we're going to take our break for the top of the hour. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Ron Desantis responded to President Trump about the photograph with the underage girls. I'm going to play that for you, and we got a lot more to get into as well, all right? Our number's toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631. Now, I want to tell you, if you miss a show, first off, shame on you, but if you miss a portion of a show, or maybe you've called in and you want to hear your call, each morning, about an hour after we go off the air, the entire show each day is uploaded to our radio station's website, TrueOldiesFLA.com, TrueOldiesFLA.com, and the shows are archived up there forever. So, you know, a lot of times you call in, you want to hear your call, or you can download it in an MP3 file on your computer, or maybe you want to play the call for your friends or save it. You can do all of that. TrueOldiesFLA.com, TrueOldiesFLA.com, and again, about an hour after we go off the air, the show is uploaded there in podcast form, all right? TrueOldiesFLA.com. All right, we're going to take our top of the hour break, 1 hour down, 2 to go, and I'm going to get into Ron DeSantis' response and quite a few other things, too. This is just a huge week of news, one of the biggest weeks of news we've had in a long time. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian, back after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by the Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the Rogue Studio. Injured recently? Call the Rogue Group, where winning is a habit. 561-570-5700. 561-570-5700.
Where's the screw?
Winning for you and our community.
Got to fix the mic. I was trying to save it. I saw it falling.
From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
I'll get it.
Oldies forecast.
I'll get it. I saw it getting loose, and I was just about to tighten it, and it fell out on me.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't want to. These mics are expensive. Luckily, it fell during the break. Mike is sick with my cold, so I'm trying not to get it back again. I made him sick. I don't want to pass it back to me. Yeah.
That's been having that. Remember the mic in there as well for the same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Maybe I move it around too much. I move around a lot. There we go. Let me move this a little bit. I'll stand up. I'm feeling a little bit better. Hold on, guys. I got to move the camera. Behind the scenes. All right. I hate when I have to watch a video to play a video. Like watch a video before I can see the video I want to see. Okay. All right, I'm going to play DeSantis' response to Trump when we get back. Boy. Well, I move around a lot. Most people don't move around when they're on the air as much as I do. I like to move. I've only been sitting down because I've been feeling well. So I'm always moving the mic and moving everything around. You know, most people sit still. I'm high energy, man. I'm moving around like Joe Cocker. I better not imitate Joe Cocker. That got Trump in trouble. Remember that? Oh my goodness. I remember the first time I saw Joe Cocker was on Solid Gold, and that's for sure, Sassy. And I thought that Joe Cocker had like cerebral palsy or something. I was a kid. I was like, that's pretty amazing. I didn't know he had that condition. I didn't know that's just how he grooves, you know. Yes, I'll get to Fetterman. No, you can't be sarcastic. They have no sense of humor. He has Doghouse Atlanta. You're just not informed. That's okay. A lot of people aren't informed. You're not alone. I don't do clickbait. Do not do clickbait. Thank you, Rome. My text? Well, I can't check it now. I have to wait till after I play the DeSantis clip, bro. Now, don't tell those jokes. Jokes are no longer allowed. Here we go.
Use Primatene Mist and breathe easy again. Available at CVS, Rite Aid, and Walgreens. Use as directed. Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, and if you're just tuning in, you have missed a lot. I mean, this is just, I don't remember the last time we had a news week this busy. Okay, so Fetterman hospitalized. Yeah, Fetterman sent to the hospital with his wife, Ava Perone, and they said it wasn't a stroke. Does anyone know when they released that information? Did they release it wasn't a stroke before or after they examined him and did all the necessary scans and everything? How can they release that quickly? It was not a stroke. I hope it wasn't. Come on, give me a break. All right, so Governor Ron DeSantis responded yesterday to the photograph of him with the underage girls in the tight shirts, holding on to him in the picture with the beer, and he was asked about it in a press conference yesterday. So I'm going to play his response in its entirety, and then I want to ask your thoughts on it, and I will share mine, okay? This is Governor Ron DeSantis's response to what we were talking about yesterday, his picture with the underage girls when he was their school teacher.
Former President Trump yesterday made a series of posts on Truth Social directed at you.
What happened? I lost it. It was playing. Hold on, let's try it again. Let me go back. I love it. Live radio, people. Don't you love it? Live radio. I've got this audio in like 4 different spots. Hold on, let me see if I can get it to work again. Don't you just love it? You know what happened is I just lost my Wi-Fi connection on my iPad, and I can see it. I can see it spinning. See, they don't want me to share it. Hold on. Oh boy. Well, I'll share it in a minute when I see my Wi-Fi has reconnected. Oh man, it was right. It was just right at the cusp. It was going to get right to the important part, and then that happened. Let's see. No, still no Wi-Fi. It's still spinning. Well, okay. That went well. Don't you? Live radio. Anything can happen. Remember they used to do television live, and they would tell you anything could happen. Anything can happen here. I know, it's still spinning. I'm looking. The Wi-Fi is out that my iPad's connected to. Maybe it's connected to the wrong Wi-Fi. I don't know. This has just been a rough week, people. I tell you, I got to take fewer vacations. See what happens when I take vacations? Okay, I am back on it now. Let's see. But it won't play. I'm going to have to oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Where's the whole segment? Don't worry. I'll fix it. So, no, his response, as you will hear, I wanted you to hear it before I gave it to you, but his response, I found it to not be the kind of response I would give. Okay, it's rebooting up now, so just give me a minute and then I'll play it for you. It's not the kind of response that I would give, okay? If someone is accusing me of doing something inappropriate with underage teenage girls, I'm very clear that I didn't do anything with underage teenage girls. And I'm not accusing Ron DeSantis of doing anything inappropriate other than being at the party with the teenagers that he should not have been at. But what I am telling you is that this response, I find it to be a weak response. Let's see here. Okay, and we got it now. I guess the forces that are out there don't want me to play it. No. It works on everything but this. There's an actual block on the audio. I have it on other places. I'll play it during the break. I'll get it somewhere else and play it for you. It's just this one place where I've been playing it doesn't want me to play it. I get it. See, that's okay. I'll just explain it to you, and then we'll take the break, and I'll get it queued up somewhere else and play it for you, and then you can decide. But I wanted you to hear his response and give me your thoughts on how adequate it was. If someone accuses me of doing something inappropriate with underage girls, my answer is I didn't do anything inappropriate with underage girls. I never would do anything like that. And anyone who knows me knows I wouldn't do anything inappropriate with underage teenage girls. And those girls themselves know I did not do anything inappropriate with them. That's my answer. That's not the way that Ron DeSantis handled it. He handled it in a bit of a different way. So, Mike, I'm going to take the break just a little early because I want to cue up the audio somewhere else because I want to play it for you, and I want you to let me know if you think Ron DeSantis's answer is adequate or not. So we'll take the break just about a minute or two early and be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Rabbi David calling. Hey, I'm calling today about something not political, but something very personal, and I gotta thank you. My mother called me up literally crying. You know how it is for someone to hear their mother crying? With excruciating pain in her shoulder. She had physical therapy. She actually went to doctors, rheumatologists, and had shots, and I didn't know what to do. Like, your mother calls you up crying. I remembered from the show, of course, that you guys have this Dr. Appleton.
Okay, now I got it. Now I got it. Got to go with the flow.
So Dr. Appleton is rabbi recommended.
So now he's got rabbinical supervision. I have to really thank you. After one time, from crying to me on the phone to sleeping like a baby that night.
Do what Rabbi David did. Call Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. An honest auto mechanic. You probably don't think they exist, but one does. Eddie, Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca will never do a repair on your vehicle that your vehicle doesn't need.
No, I mean, our whole movement is under just attack in so many different ways and in so many different angles. Veritas, look at how they've turned Desantis and Huckabee against Trump. I mean, there's craziness going on. The attacks on our movement are just insanely huge and never ending, you know? And we've got to talk about them, even the ones we don't like talking about. We really do. We got to recognize what's going on here. We got to keep the MAGA movement strong. We need Sarah Huckabee and DeSantis back on board. We need to stand with James O'Keefe.
Regular price $49.98, just $19.98 with our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E at checkout. I've tried every pillow too, the foam pillow, bamboo.
I can't take his word on that. I'd have to verify that before I put it. He can call me on the air, but I can't just take someone's word on. People can call in and say they're whatever they want to be. Would you take someone's word like that?
No tossing and no turning, so you wake up in the morning refreshed and ready to go. Now this is the lowest price that Mike Lindell's offered the MyPillow for. It's just $19.98.
I'm on the air live, man. I'm here flying solo. I don't have time to do research while I'm on the air. I can barely overcome this glitch in my soundbite with DeSantis. Okay?
Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. Order your MyPillow and get the best night's sleep just like I do every night.
I'm not, maybe you could very well be telling the truth, but I don't know. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. I got the audio issue cleared up now, but I got a very important question to ask you. Do you or someone you know suffer from neuropathy? Neuropathy is basically, it's a disability. And your doctors will tell you there is no treatment. You know, the neuropathy symptoms are literally torture. Torture. You know, during the war on terror down at Gitmo, if they would have given the Al-Qaeda neuropathy, they would have spilled their guts. It's that torturous. It's like waterboarding. And the doctors will tell you there's no treatment for it. And Steve had every neuropathy treatment known to man, and we were very concerned that he wouldn't be able to go on our cruise because of it. And then we found Lighthouse Medical in Pompano. You know, Lighthouse Medical, by the way, have been in practice for over 50 years now in Pompano. I believe they very well could be the longest running medical practice in Broward County. And by the way, it's the same family. Those 51 years, they're in their 51st year. It's the same family. It's not a practice that's been sold a whole bunch of times with just the same name. It's the same family all those 51 years. So if you have neuropathy, you know the symptoms. Oh boy, because you're living them, right? Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in your hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching, that feeling of pins and needles in your hands and feet. Some have no feeling at all. And Steve went to all the doctors, including a neurologist, and they said there's no treatment. That's your life now. Neuropathy, get used to it. Then we found Lighthouse Medical. Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano not only have a treatment for all these neuropathy symptoms, They have a treatment plan that works. I've seen it on Steve, and I've talked to many of our listeners since Lighthouse Medical has been with us. It works. Give them a call. Make sure you mention you heard about Lighthouse Medical Center on the radio, and you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. Online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Give them a call and say bye-bye to your neuropathy symptoms, and you will be a new person. All right, so I got the audio now. This is Ron DeSantis in a press conference yesterday. He was asked about the photograph that President Trump posted on Truth Social with the underage girls. And this is his response that I think is a weak response. This is not the response I would have advised him to give.
So here's what I would say about all that. I get you guys want the controversy. How would your proposed legislation against defamation address those posts that could be considered damaging? Well, if you think when we did the defamation panel yesterday, I made the point, look, I have a platform. It's different for me because I can fight back, and people just know I face defamatory stuff every single day I've been governor. That's just the nature of it. But I have a platform to fight back. A lot of these other people that are more little, they don't necessarily have a platform to fight back. And so in terms of our reforms, I really want to empower them more so than people that occupy high positions like me. It just goes with the territory. You got to have a thick skin. It's also just practically speaking, I would not take time out of being governor to be fighting lawsuits. It's just not practical in terms of what we're doing. And I'd also just say this. I spend my time delivering results for the people of Florida and fighting against Joe Biden. That's how I spend my time. I don't spend my time trying to smear other Republicans.
Okay. I love Ron DeSantis. So none of what I've talked about yesterday or today should be taken as not loving Ron DeSantis. I love the man. I think he's the greatest governor in the history of all governors of every state in America since there was a United States of America. He's the greatest. He saved Florida. Okay? And I love the guy. He's got a couple weaknesses. This, to me, is a weak answer. I gave this example before. I had a guy call me on the air, and, these liberal hate callers, and he's saying that I'm gay, and he says he knew 5 men that I've had sex with. Well, my response was not, well, I spend my time dealing with Biden. I don't attack, I don't attack. When this guy called in on the air, and he had all this arrogance. He said, I know 5 men that you've had sex with. So my response to him was this, live on the air on the spot. I said, bring those 5 men and yourself into the studio tomorrow. These 5 men you say that you know that I've had sex with, I'll have you all in the studio tomorrow, and you and your 5 friends can tell the story on the air, live in studio. The microphones are waiting. I never saw nor heard from that person again. And the reason is because, well, I knew it wasn't true, and I confronted it right there, and that was the end of it. When you start dancing, which Ron DeSantis did, you give the story legs. Okay? You give the story legs. And I'm not saying that he did anything inappropriate, okay? But he didn't stop the story from growing with that answer. I would have been right out front and stopped that story right there on the spot. He did not do that, Ron DeSantis. And it's unfortunate. And because our movement, and when I say our movement, I'm talking about the MAGA movement. We're under attack. They're after James O'Keefe now. They're about to take Seymour Hersh, who's in his 80s, one of the most respected journalists in this country. They're calling him fake news now. They have turned Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders and the great Governor Ron DeSantis against Trump. And there's a long list of things that we could go through. And at 9 o'clock, if that's all we did were list these things, we still would not be done. It would be an incomplete list. We don't have enough time. Our movement needs to be reunited. I want Governor Desantis and Governor Huckabee Sanders back on the Trump train. I just saw today Larry Elder is going to run against Trump in the primary. Are you kidding me, Larry Elder? Now, I don't know if that's a real run or what. I don't know. This is not, 2015. This is not a game. This is serious business. Our country is hanging in the balance. All right. Every line on our board is lit at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. 888-465-2631. It's Thursday morning. I'm going to go to the phones and see what you all think. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Listen, yesterday.
What's that? Wait. I hear annoyance in your voice. Good morning. Am I being reprimanded, Richie? Did I do something wrong?
No, we're not in conflict. We're in disagreement here. I think that was the greatest answer from anybody. He's not getting in the mud, okay? And what you don't get in your head is that 30% of people are like you and I that will vote for Trump no matter what. And Trump knows that. But he's got to reach out to the rest. And people do not like bullies. And what he pulled there was a cheap shot, and DeSantis responded by not getting into the mud with him. You got to look at the situation. It's not the same as you being accused of being something that you're not, and you stand up for yourself. DeSantis has stood up for himself for everything I've seen down here since he's governor. He's very good at that. I think if Trump gets on a stage with him and tries to tell him he's got small hands, he'll be destroyed. Trump will look like a little person. And that's what you don't understand. He can't get in the mud with these people. Trump has to run on his policies and what he's done for the country, not cheap shots on.
Listen, I don't want to do yesterday's show today, but we're talking about it because DeSantis responded. But I'll just say this. In my opinion, I think Donald Trump did Ron DeSantis a favor and showed, what we saw. I'm telling you, I talked about this in a lot of detail on my podcast last night, guys. So check that out, the Brian Craig Show podcast on all podcast platforms and YouTube. What we saw with this photograph was the Democrats' October surprise against DeSantis when he's the Republican nominee. And that would have been followed by Dateline interviews with the girls in the tight shirts with the boobs all pressed up against him and everything, and it'd be over for him. With Kavanaugh, there was no photograph.
Okay, here's the deal.
There's a photograph with this, and people can be identified. So no, there's a big difference. You have photographic evidence. We didn't have that with Kavanaugh.
But don't you think that DeSantis is pretty strong at fighting back with everybody, including the photograph?
No, he's not. That's it. I've been telling you, his weakness is debate. He doesn't do well. He does good in press conferences and everything, but he's weak in debate. And prior to the final debates, there would be Dateline interviews with these girls, and who knows who else was at the party. And then that would be it. It would be devastating. I think President Trump did DeSantis a favor.
May I ask you a question, though? I don't know.
Why do you ask if you can ask a question? I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, I guess,
I don't know. Don't get annoyed with me, please. Listen, not for nothing. I don't know how President Trump would debate today because he has a record to run on, and I would think he would debate anyone on his record. But if President Trump tries to, to me, the last campaign that he ran, when he knocked all those people off, he knocked them off on personal attacks, every one of them.
And we loved him for it. Remember, he gave out Lindsey Graham's cell phone number? Richie, I got a break. Thanks for the call. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
Oh, man. All right, there's one opening on the board. Oh gosh, I've got so much to get to that I haven't even touched on yet. Well, whatever I don't get to today, I'll get to on the podcast. He has been James O'Keefe has been suspended with pay, put on leave, paid administrative leave at Project Veritas, and their board is going to get together tomorrow to decide his fate. So they're trying to push him out, according to all the press reports. Yeah, there's one opening at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Oh my goodness. I just got a text message for someone. I'm going to read it to you. This is a text message on my cell phone. I think I just asked who it is. They're not in my phone book. I think I know who it is. I just texted them back, who is this? They haven't responded. I think I know who it is, but I'm not 100%. I'll read the text when I get back. I've got his cell phone number. He's not commenting on this yet. Some journalists have reached out to him, and he's not responded to this. Not if he has a non-compete. It's not that easy. These guys have non-compete deals and everything. It's not that easy. He may not have a non-compete, but he probably has some form of one. I'll go back to the phones after I read this text. Well, thank you. Thank you. The longest running radio show in the state of Florida, on the radio since 1977. The Steve Kane Show has been on the air in Florida for 46 years. Not all, but a lot do. Sometimes you have confidentiality agreements, but not non-competes. But most people do in that type of business. Donald Trump has listened to this show. When I had Christina Bob on, where do you think she was calling me from? Well, I called her, but where do you think she was? I got a text. Remember, do you guys remember maybe about 3 weeks ago, I said I got a text from Mar-a-Lago? It was about, they were asking me if I would have Christina Bob on. What does that tell you? It tells you the boss was listening. I just try not to think about that too much because it would just freak me out. I got a call one day. The week of, I remember it was the 4th of July last year. I got a call after the show that President Trump was listening to that show. I don't remember what the topic was, but I got a call that told me he listened to that show. and I almost broke down in tears. I almost fainted. I mean, I knew he had listened, but to get the call that he liked the show and I was like blown away. Now, if you're on hold, I'll get to the calls. Don't worry. Well, Christina Bobb has the inside knowledge. I'm very impressed with her. She's got the inside knowledge on what's going on in the Trump orbit. No, Trump. What wrong has Trump done? Can he tell me? All right, we are back. It's Thursday. I can't believe we've been back almost a week from our cruise. Oh, man, I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. I just got a text. If you're on hold, stand by. Go to the phones. There's one opening at 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 1-888-465-2631. I got a text message from someone when we went into the break at the bottom of the hour, and they're not listed in my phone book, so I don't know who it is. And I texted them back and said, who is this? And they've not responded. But I'm going to read you the text message, okay? They sent this to me at 7:28. So, they sent this out during that segment right when we went to break. And they said this, you do, and it must be someone I know, they have my cell phone number. You do realize that you're a tool in the Democrats' toolbox, don't you? Once again, taking shots at one of the most important Republicans in the country. A man who the future of conservatism in the country, and you're attacking him every day, and you don't think the Democrats are loving it. I am not attacking Ron DeSantis. I love Ron DeSantis. By the way, who are you? I texted you back like 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago. Who is this? And you haven't written me back. I take calls live on the air too. So whoever's texting me these things, you can call me on the air, not send me text messages. And this person sends me text messages all the time criticizing me. I am not attacking Ron DeSantis. I love Ron DeSantis. He is second only to the great Donald Trump. I want him back on the Trump train. If I had my way, he'd be Trump's running mate. They can't because they both live in Florida. But sometimes people need a little help. One of the things that a celebrity needs, and a celebrity can be a politician, it can be a radio host, like Rush. What a celebrity needs is someone who will tell them the truth. Okay? Someone who will tell them the truth. Not someone who tells them what they want to hear. And sometimes people need constructive criticism. When we go off the air, Steve will call me up sometimes after the show, and he'll say things to me about something I did or how I handled a caller sometimes, and he'll be critical and say maybe, and I need that. I give him the same type of feedback. You've got to have someone around you that's not a yes man to keep you in check. Do you understand what I'm saying here? And that's what I'm doing with Governor DeSantis. I love Governor DeSantis. My goodness, I love the guy. I wear his hats, his shirts. I love the guy. He's the greatest. He saved Florida. He saved us. Can you imagine what it would have been like with Andrew Gillum? This is not an attack. What I was talking about before the break with President Trump in this photograph did him a favor. The Democrats have had this photograph for a year at least, maybe two, depends on the reporting, but at least a year, and they sat on it. I've been telling you all for a year since they started this MAGA divide, right? By the way, callers on hold, stand by. I will go to the phones, but I'll forget this, and I think it's important to get this out. I've been telling you since they started this MAGA divide between Trump and DeSantis, okay, that they've been giving DeSantis a free ride so that he seems non-controversial and the Republican we want instead of Trump. As soon as he gets the nomination, they're going to destroy him. Think about this. This story with this photograph could have cost him re-election against Charlie Crist. Would have been maybe, maybe not. the Democrats sat on this story and gave him the governorship without a significant challenge at all. He probably still would have won because he saved Florida, okay? But it would have been a tough week. It would have been a tough week. And I promise you, Florida's First Lady, Mrs. Desantis, is plenty ticked off right now. I know my wife would be. So, yeah, exactly. Everyone's wife would be, except Mrs. Clinton. Mrs. Clinton, that's just a regular Tuesday, you know. They sat on this story and gave DeSantis a free ride in this election just so they could use him to stop Trump and put him up against Trump. When he gets the nomination, this is the beginning of their October surprise. They just, now that, you know, his response yesterday confirms that he was at this party, what would happen would be these CNN and Dateline investigative pieces. They only need one girl. And by the way, it could be somebody else at that party. They find somebody else. It's a high school party. Not everybody there was 18. Everybody, you know, under 21 is too young to drink. They find some 15, 16, 17-year-olds there. They know, now that they know he was there, the location can be identified. I'm sure there's other photographs. We know it was in a kitchen because you see the cabinets in the background. And when I was going to high school parties, we were often in the kitchen because that's where the beer is and that's where you mix the drinks, the kitchen. They just need one person to do like that Blasey Ford did against Kavanaugh and say something. It doesn't even have to be true, and it probably wouldn't be true because he's a good guy, Ron DeSantis. It'd be over for him in a national election. It would be only Democrats can get away with behavior like that, guys. Okay? I'm telling you. And what President Trump is doing is giving a sample to Ron DeSantis of what he would be facing, that he's getting a free ride. Now, remember yesterday that clip I played of Sarah Huckabee, which, by the way, Steve Bannon and Lou Dobbs agreed with me. They were on the War Room yesterday agreeing with what I said in the afternoon about Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Remember how she went through this whole thing? I'm the this, I'm the that, I'm the first this, I've done that, when she hasn't done squat. Her daddy and President Trump gave her the governorship of Arkansas. She's like Prince Harry, okay? She's a figurehead. She's a princess who inherited the title of governor of Arkansas, but she's got this long list of things that she's done. She's in La La Land. She believes that. And Governor DeSantis is a little bit like that because they're enticing him, you know? And President Trump is saying, hey, you're getting a free ride. This is the beginning of what you're going to get. I'm helping you. All right. Let me take a call or two before the next break. 1-888-GO-CANE-1's the number. Let's go. You're on the air. I'm hearing myself. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Sounds like you. Sounds like you.
Yo, I'm actually on the air. Yo, that's fantastic. So this is Doghouse Atlanta in the chat.
Okay.
So, do you have any questions about how PV works?
I don't even know. What do you mean? Do I have questions for you? You called me. I don't know. You called me. I didn't call you.
Questions from your audience. You know, people are. You know.
Oh, you've just booked yourself as a guest on the program. What you called me? What's on your mind?
I called the number. What gives?
Well, I doubt that there's much we could ask of you if you don't understand that this is a call-in show. You called me, and you've got nothing to say.
Fundamentally, I disagree with your headline on your story. He's forced out. That's not really the case.
You're talking about James. You're talking about James O'Keefe. This is what I'm telling you. I have been a fan and supporter of James O'Keefe since I saw that first ACORN video, okay? And he is the greatest, next to, of course, his mentor Andrew Breitbart, who created this whole new medium of journalism, of citizen journalism. But every news account, including the Gateway Pundit, okay, is reporting that he has been forced on this paid vacation from Project Veritas. There's an article in Rolling Stone that gives a lot more details about it, and there's multiple reports and multiple publications. I've tweeted some of them on my Twitter that say tomorrow, the board on Friday, tomorrow, the Project Veritas board is going to decide James O'Keefe's fate. So I don't know why you're ticked at me. I'm only talking about what's being widely reported. And also Twitter, James O'Keefe's trending. He was this morning when I got up on Twitter about this. So I don't know what your beef is with me.
Headline, forced out, capitalized.
Well, that's what's being reported.
It is factually incorrect at the moment.
Well, I hope you're right. You know, I believe, well, that's awesome. You know, I started the show, and I said this several times, that James O'Keefe is the greatest living investigative journalist, and he very well may be the greatest investigative journalist in the history of American investigative journalism. All right? And what I'm reading this morning, and what I'm reading this morning in all news accounts, which claim to have inside sources, and I hope that it's fake news, is that there's been a lot of internal complaints against the way that he treats employees. There's one where there's a
wasn't his authority to do so.
Well, there's more than that. There's more than that. Well, instead of just telling, are you high? You know, I mean, you're just giggling a lot. That's why. Not right now. When was the last time you were high? You're not high now. When was the last time you were high?
A couple days ago.
Couple days ago. Okay, all right, I get it. So there's some residual in there still that's causing the attacks. No, there's a story in Rolling Stone that talks about him having employees take lie detector tests, which I can understand he should, because could be infiltrators. There's a report.
That was only when it pertained to the Ashley Biden diary.
Okay. Okay, and there's a story about him taking a sandwich away from a pregnant woman. I mean, these stories are absurd. Okay.
Story was in the federal courthouse when he wanted lunch, and he works out, and so he needed to get something to eat. And the pregnant.
I don't know. I don't trust this guy.
A fellow defendant in the federal lawsuit this fall, which I sat next to. What's his name? Adam Goldman the entire time, like in the wing, whatever. It was actually really entertaining. But no. Like,
see, okay, listen. This is, okay, based on what you're saying, you sound credible, but this is where you're missing me. I mean, I don't know, you're probably not familiar with me. Maybe you just discovered me because I got James O'Keefe in the title of my YouTube video. Okay. Let me tell you. I would put James O'Keefe in the top 5 most important men in America. Number 1 is Donald Trump. All right. Number 2 is Ron Desantis. Okay. And there's only 3 spaces left. And James O'Keefe is in my view, is in one of those spaces. So, we're not disagreeing here. What I'm telling you is that since that ACORN story, which was, 12, 13 years ago now, when James O'Keefe saved America, they've been after him. The Ashley Biden diary is the same story as the laptop. She left it behind, just like her brother left the laptop to screw her dad, okay? And that's correct. And what I believe, based on the stories in the news that I'm reading today, it would seem to me that they're using this human resource nonsense to bring down James O'Keefe and stop him from his reporting. And that's the main idea of my whole argument today. So I think we're on the same page. I got to run for the break, but I'm happy to talk to you another time. But to quote the late great First Lady Nancy Reagan, just say no next time, okay?
Yeah, I'll just say no next time.
That's right. Don't get high. Don't get high, okay? Just say no to drugs. That's right. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's take our last break of the second hour. We'll be back.
Hard Truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Oh, boy. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, the other day I was so sick I couldn't complete the show, which has never happened to me before. It was Tuesday at 7:30. I couldn't complete. You know, you never know. That's why you've always got to be prepared. You never know what the future holds for yourself.
Into what we talk about, of course, preparing for the future and making sure you have everything set up so you're prepared. You
no, he's real.
Take care of things.
He said
for
a couple
yourself
things.
and
He's
your
real.
family. What I wanted to talk about today, you know, what I texted you the other day was about our upcoming workshops. We're going to resume our workshops after a bit of a hiatus, and the thing I'm excited about is we're going to do them in our brand new office. And we have a very large conference room, and we're going to start holding them in there. And our first one is coming up in less than 2 weeks, February 21st at 2 p.m. in our Boca Raton office on Military Trail in Boca Raton. And it's going to be on Living Trusts. And we have limited room. So the first 15 to 18 folks who make their reservation will get into this one. But the good news is we will be holding them roughly every 2 weeks. And so if you don't get into this one, we will have availability for upcoming workshops in our new office. So if you are interested, please call our office and let them know you want to attend the workshop. If the 21st doesn't work for you, they will give you other alternatives.
Yeah, and you know, I've been to, I don't know, a dozen or more of your workshops, and as often as we talk and you give us tidbits of information and knowledge, I always learn a lot, not just something, a lot in each and every workshop of yours that I've attended. And it's a great opportunity to not only meet Attorney Barry Siegel, but his entire staff, especially now since you're going to have the seminars in your office. If you'd like to attend the seminar, give the Siegel Law Group a call, make your reservation. Here's the number, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. Yeah.
A couple other things I also wanted to mention. First of all, just as a reminder, when you attend the seminar, you also are entitled to a discount on any, if you do want to go forward with your planning, you're entitled to the discount certificate that we've always have given to attendees. And then the one other thing I wanted to mention, and I forgot to mention, our brand new Siegel Law Group website has been launched, and it's now up, so I'd urge everyone to take a look at it.
Oh, awesome.
And go to our Siegel Law Group website. So.
Yeah, I figured you would offer a discount. You always do, but you didn't mention it, so I didn't want to put you on the spot. I was going to text you after. So there's a benefit of getting a discount if you attend the seminar. Again, the number 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel will finish out the week tomorrow. All right, back after this. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Now, I want to talk about O'Keefe here and the last caller. You know, I got to be skeptical when people call me. People call in and can claim to be anything at any particular moment in time. That guy was for real. He said a couple things that he's for real. But I wanted to share with you what I started the show with at 6 about what's going on with James O'Keefe, just to keep you guys up to speed. And again, there's more detail and other stories like Rolling Stone. And again, I don't know how much of it's real or not. But what I'm telling you is that we have a major attack by the establishment on our entire movement. James O'Keefe, okay? Ron DeSantis, Sarah Huckabee, of course, the great Donald Trump, and many, many more, okay? And we've got to talk about all of them. By the way, the person that sent me the text won't tell me who they are. They said, I'm someone who voted for Trump twice and some other things. I don't know. Just call me on the air. Okay? I take calls live on the air. Okay? You can call me on the air, people, like the last guy did. But let me read that. This is in the Gateway Pundit, and they reposted in the Gateway Pundit a story from New York Magazine. James O'Keefe has taken paid leave from Project Veritas as its board considers whether to remove him from his leadership position. Now, this is frightening to me. I mean, this is like the board of Breitbart deciding to, I mean, let me tell you what's going on here, just to give some context. There was a time, many years ago, that I did not go on the air without checking the Drudge Report, not just once, but many times, and then checking it during the show. Do you guys remember the days of the Drudge Report? Oh, yeah. I remember when Obama first became president. Who was that jerk that was his press secretary? Gibbs. Was it Gibbs was his press secretary? There was a story, I don't remember what it was, and it was on Drudge. And he had his White House, was it Robert Gibbs? It's been a long time. I think it was Gibbs. I could be wrong. And the press corps asked a question about this story in the Drudge Report. And Gibbs, he said, well, I haven't seen the story yet. The press corps went nuts. They said, how can you come, they said this, how can you come out here at this podium having not looked at the Drudge Report? And there was a time when the Drudge Report was the go-to place for real journalism in this country. People don't realize it was more than just Lewinsky. It started with the Lewinsky matter. If you remember, Newsweek had the story on Lewinsky. The Clintons got the story killed. The reporters at Newsweek gave it to Matt Drudge. He put it on the Drudge Report and it became famous. And the Drudge Report is where everyone who followed news, everyone who was interested in politics went to many times a day to find out what was really going on. Well, what happened to Matt Drudge in the Drudge Report? Something happened. And you know what? We've never gotten the story. And a lot of journalists have investigated, does Drudge even own the Drudge Report anymore? We don't know. But several years ago, I don't know how many, it's been a long time, someone took over the Drudge Report and it's valueless now. I mean, who goes to the Drudge Report anymore? Because there's no news there. And Drudge was a big threat to them. Drudge was a big threat to them. Boom, gone. It's still online. They update it all the time, but they haven't made news in years. Okay? And that's crazy. A lot of you may not remember the Drudge Report. Maybe you weren't following news back then, but it was a big deal. It was a big deal. And that's it. Now with James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, it was different than the Drudge Report, but it's a similar concept of real news. The Drudge Report, Project Veritas, Breitbart, there have been others. You know, these are WikiLeaks, right? Look what they've done. You know, WikiLeaks is amazing. WikiLeaks, they're not hackers. People give them stories. WikiLeaks are investigative journalists. Julian Assange has been in prison for how many years? And when's the last time you heard of a major breakout of WikiLeaks? Don't you see what happened? Andrew Breitbart is dead. Julian Assange is in prison. The Drudge Report is vacuous and useless. And now James O'Keefe is on paid administrative leave, and it's being reported that the board of Project Veritas is going to determine his fate. Now, I want him to maintain at Project Veritas and keep doing what James O'Keefe does. But don't you see a pattern here? You know, Breitbart, Drudge, Julian Assange, and James O'Keefe go against the corporate mainstream media and actually report the news. These guys are real. Drudge, he's, knows what happened to him. These are real life Woodward and Bernsteins. Woodward and Bernstein is a myth. They didn't investigate anything. The way it happened, Mark Felt was Deep Throat. He was a senior FBI agent. He, when J. Edgar Hoover died, he thought he should get the job as FBI director. He got passed over by Nixon. He knew Bob Woodward. Bob Woodward, when he was in the Navy, had a job at the Navy Department where every night he took documents to the White House. Felt had the same job for the FBI, and they were in the waiting room and got to know each other. And he just gave information to Bob Woodward. This whole thing that you see in the movie where they go around and they, investigate and all this stuff at all hours of the night and everything, that's a myth. Okay? James O'Keefe, Matt Drudge, Andrew Breitbart, and Julian Assange are the real deal. Of those 4 guys, only one is left standing. James O'Keefe. And now I read this morning. Don't you see what's going on here? It's a war against real journalism. And a lot of this is in preparation for Trump's run, which I'm assuming over the summer we'll start getting the rallies again. And then we're going to have a lot of rallies. And this is all about that. And if you put everything, one thing I like, a lot of people don't like getting older. I like it because when you get older, you have more perspective on things going on as opposed to just knowing about the last couple of years. And what I'm seeing going on in this war against our movement and against real journalism is frightening to me. All right, we'll take our break for the top of the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the Rome Studio. Injured recently? Call the Rome's Law Group, where winning is a habit. 561-570-5700. 561-570-5700. Rome's winning for you and our community. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created, here's the Oldies forecast. Good morning, everybody. 100 days off before the rain start. Here we go for Thursday, and we're up into the 80s today. I think about 80 to 81. Partly cloudy skies throughout, still a breeze off the ocean as we see. There is a recurrent statement out of the dangerous or storm risk and strong advisories are up. WTV outside the Pfizer, your own Spanish off. Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Signal Plumbing Shop. Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Located in the best of the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com. Where luxurious Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach County.
Oh, boy. I mean, do you guys get what I'm saying about what's going on here? I mean, who else could I add to that list, right? Drudge, Breitbart, James O'Keefe, Julian Assange. Of those 4, 3 are out of commission, right? You see what I'm saying? No, Doghouse is real. I got some people contacted me. But I can't just take the word of people in the chat room, and say, okay, you're this. I gotta. No, Doghouse, actually a couple people sent me your number. I might call you and we'll talk. And we'll do an in-depth thing on it. But this is, what they're doing is they're gearing up. They're gearing up for the next election cycle. I hope so, Doghouse. I hope so. I don't trust Ted Cruz. I don't trust Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz came up through the Bush family, which automatically, has him on the list. And I do think that picture is his father with Lee Harvey Oswald, okay? I mean, but I got so much to talk about I haven't gotten to. I only got an hour left. No, Doghouse is legit. No, he's real. No, I was going to lead with the Nordstrom story today, and then I saw the James O'Keefe story in the Gateway Pundit, and I didn't think too much of it until I looked on Twitter and I saw either James O'Keefe was trending or he was trending among people who follow me. I can't remember which. And then I clicked that on and saw these other articles, and I'm like, oh my gosh. See, sunlight is a disinfectant. And when these people start to make their move, if you talk about it and what's going on is in the sunlight, that stops a lot of it. Oh, Snowden. Yeah. Snowden's a little different, but yeah. I mean, what they did to the Drudge Report, the Drudge Report is basically an arm of the DNC now. Well, yeah. Now, I think if you guys go and watch the show from the beginning, I think most people, including Doghouse, will agree. I don't think it's over that. I don't think it's over that video. I think they've been after him for a decade. Well, they've been after him since the ACORN, over a decade. They got a new tactic. I hope this is blown out of proportion. We don't have many people left. We lost Fox. Newsmax, what happened with Newsmax, with AT&T, they've been so weakened. One American News might as well be on shortwave radio. You see any news outlet we have, look at Newsmax, look at OAN. Newsmax is in trouble. Epic Times is amazing, that's true. I know they replaced it with that outlet that Bill O'Reilly's on, but that's not the same as Newsmax. Just because it's conservative, it's not the same.
At 240 West Indiantown Road, Suite 102. In-person event only. Buy one filler, get the second 50% off. Buy 40 units of Botox, get 10 units free. Get 30% off revision skincare.
Well, yeah, Newsmax is not Project Veritas, okay? Or the Andrew Breitbart, okay? But they're very good. And they were really, they probably aren't anymore, but they were number 4 in cable news, they say. They were about to become number 3. They're probably about to beat MSNBC, and boom, they went after them.
If you own a small to medium-sized business that kept employees on payroll through COVID, you may have a big cash refund waiting for you. The Employee Retention Credit is a tax credit of up to $26,000 per employee. And now, more businesses than ever qualify. The experts at RefundsPro.com specialize in cutting through the red tape of qualifying for this government program. Most of their refunds are
about who, Sandy?
$100,000. Even businesses that have received
now,
PPP funds may be eligible. And there are
nothing will make me happier this week than finding out that this story is being blown out of proportion. Oh, Ted Cruz, yeah. I like Ted Cruz, and he does good stuff.
You're owed by missing the deadline. Get started today with a free 5-minute questionnaire at refundspro.com. That's refunds with an S, pro.com.
Join us for a moment of scripture, hosted by Jan Coleman every Sunday morning from 6 to 6:30 a.m. We will read the Bible, pray, and offer blessings to all who listen in the name of our Lord and Savior. Moments of scripture every Sunday at 6 a.m.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Yes, we are back. The third and final hour of this Thursday edition of Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, has begun. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE-1. Great show today and a lot of big news. Oh, man. Now, I want to tell you, Valentine's Day is next week on a weekday. You don't want to celebrate Valentine's Day during the week. You cannot do it properly. You want to celebrate Valentine's Day on Saturday. And there's no better place to celebrate Valentine's Day than Saturday at the Valentine's Day all-day and night event at Anne Marie's in Pompano. They have a Valentine's Day lunch and dinner extravaganza going on at Anne Marie's in Pompano that you and your Valentine will love. Okay, Valentine's Day lunch and dinner at Anne Marie's in Pompano with heart-shaped pizzas, and their handmade raviolis for Valentine's Day will be made in the shape of hearts. Anne Marie's is having a Valentine's Day party Saturday night with live music outside starting at 6:30. You won't want to miss it. It's going to be a great time. And, you know, one thing about Anne Marie's, Steve and I don't talk about too much because we're not drinkers, except on the cruise. They have a VIP wine club. They have an incredible wine collection. I've had some of the wines over there. They are spectacular. You can have a very romantic Valentine's Day dinner or lunch at Anne Marie's with that great homemade Italian food with grandma's recipes, everything homemade with great wine as well. And if the live music starts at 6:30 outside at Anne Marie's. Anne Marie's is located in Pompano on the northwest corner of US 1 Federal Highway and Copans Road in the same plaza as the movie theater. You can call if you have any questions. I don't know if they're taking reservations. Call them and ask. 954-889-6600. 954-889-6600. One more time, 954-889-6600. That is pretty smart of them, huh? Having Valentine's Day and night celebrations on the Saturday before. All right, so just to move on to a couple other things that I want to touch on before the end of the show. Bill Gates, you know, Bill Gates, he did one very good thing, right? He created Windows. And it's kind of a one-hit wonder. I mean, Windows is awesome, and it changed the world and everything else, and we appreciate that. But, you know, the days of people waiting in line, I never understood why people waited in line for the newest version of Windows. Was that just hype? Or did anybody ever really do that? I used to get the disc in the mail or just go a couple days later and pick it up. But, you know, he's a one-hit wonder, and he's been involved in all kinds of things with his unlimited wealth to have control over our lives. And one of the big things he's involved in is the climate change racket. That's a big thing. And he gave an interview, and he got called out on the private jets. Now, I know this seems like a petty thing. Like they had their climate change global warming summit recently, and you know, and people were going down and filming the jets. And the reason it's absurd is that, now, if you listen to the Bill Gates and the climate change lunatics, they will tell you that human activity, that our carbon footprints are so damaging to the planet that if we don't make a change, the planet Earth will not be able to support life as we know it. That's a pretty big deal, right? You know, there are things that have been invented that could make it impossible for the Earth to sustain human life. If we started dropping nuclear bombs around the planet, we would not be able to survive that, right? So that's why there has not been a nuclear war. That is why, other than us, it's not been used in wartime since 1945. And other than some tests, we don't go around radiating the planet with nuclear bombs because it would make it incapable, the planet, of supporting life, right? Now, these climate change people that think that our human activity will make it impossible for the Earth to support human life are the biggest polluters there are because they got a lot of money, which is awesome, and they buy a lot of things. Some of them launch spaceships up into space on penis rockets, but they all have private jets. And they don't even jet pool. They want you to carpool. They want you to drive 55 and all that stuff. They don't even jet pool. The rest of us, when we fly, we jet pool. Jet pooling is known as commercial. So anyway, climate alarmist Bill Gates was giving an interview, and they asked him about his private jet use, and is there a hypocrisy to it? And his response is so typical of these liberal elitists. Listen, this is Bill Gates.
What do you say to the charge that if you are a climate change campaigner, but you also travel around the world in a private jet, you're a hypocrite?
Well, I by the gold standard of funding Climeworks to do direct air capture that far exceeds my family's carbon.
You know, I haven't really heard Bill Gates talk in a long time. And when I pulled this soundbite, I didn't notice it so much. Doesn't he sound like Katharine Hepburn a little bit?
Footprint. And I spend billions of dollars on climate innovation. So, you know, should I stay at home and not come to Kenya and learn about farming and malaria? Anyway, I mean, I'm comfortable with the idea that not only am I not part of the problem by paying for the offsets, but also through the billions that my Breakthrough Energy group is spending, that I'm part of the solution.
Okay. Now, see, Al Gore talks this way. Not like Katharine Hepburn, but he's got the same racket. Yeah, it sounds a little bit like Bobby Kennedy Jr. Yeah, a little bit. Gee whiz. Now, with the Catholic Church used to have this thing called the selling of indulgences. Do you guys know what selling of indulgences is? It's what many believe, it's what Martin Luther's excuse for leaving the Catholic Church and starting the Lutheran Church. The selling of indulgences was something that you could sin. You could be a Catholic in good standing and sin all day and all night, and you could pay the church and buy indulgences. Like if this were today, say you're into drugs, hookers, and porn, right? In the days of selling of indulgences, you know, they had some of those things. They had drugs, they had hookers, they didn't have porn probably. I don't know, but and the way selling indulgences would work, you could be a Catholic in good standing with your drugs, your hookers, and your pornography if you bought the indulgences. And that exonerated you. You bought sin. You bought the ability to commit sin. That's what the selling of indulgences are, okay? The left have brought in the selling of indulgences in the form of carbon credits. It's a whole industry. And that's what Bill Gates is talking about. He didn't use the term carbon credits, but that's what he's talking about. Yeah, I pollute, but I spend so much money on this green crap that it offsets my pollution. Yeah, I got a private jet, but I spend so much money on this green nonsense that it covers my pollution. I'm allowed to pollute as long as I spend this money on these green things. That it's the selling of indulgences. It's called carbon credits. Bono is in this big time. Al Gore started the whole industry. There's a whole industry of this, okay? And that's what he's talking about. But here's the thing, and then I'll break. I just want to finish. If you truly believed that the planet would no longer be able to survive with human life on it, or humans couldn't survive on the planet, if you continue to do this type of thing, would you keep doing it? Even if you were buying these indulgences? Of course not. That's why we don't drop nuclear bombs all over the place. And, you know, we've had these conflicts, Vietnam, Korea, what's going on now with Russia. We don't drop nuclear bombs because once we start doing that, we radiate the planet, we get a nuclear winter, we're all dead. All right? Did you get it? Similar thing, you know, so these guys, Bill Gates, none of them believe it. It's just he's a George Soros type with a God complex to have power over all of our lives by promoting this nonsense. All right, listen, we're going to take our first break of the last hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-Kane-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig on Oldies 95.9 and 106.9.
All right, welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You know, you've been hearing me talk for quite some time about the great work that Dr. Appleton did ridding me of my pain. It was amazing. His laser wave pain system works, and you hear some of the commercial messages that are recorded we run with some of our listeners who have called in and talked about how he has rid them and members of their family with pain. It's amazing. It's amazing. It works. My arthritis gone. My knee pain gone. I suffered with that knee pain for years. Gone. And I'm able to do things I couldn't do before because I'm pain-free. Well, you know, Dr. Appleton's a chiropractor, and he does more than just the laser wave pain treatment. If you've been in an accident, an auto accident or a slip and fall, and you call Dr. Appleton, he'll see you today. You call today, you'll be seen today. It's amazing. But he does something that I've never heard another doctor do. This is amazing. Now, this is just for our South Florida listeners. If you're listening to us in Michigan, this doesn't apply. You have to be in the area of our radio stations. But if you call Dr. Appleton, he will see you today. He'll provide free transportation to and from his office for your treatment. Free transportation. Isn't that amazing? By the way, he's open 6 days a week. Day 6, of course, is Saturday. That's right, free transportation to and from his office. Call him today, be seen today. And I know when I had my really bad car accident, it was so hard for me to get to my treatment because I couldn't drive for a while, and I was kind of afraid to drive because the accident was so bad, and I missed a lot of my treatments. You don't have to do that with Dr. Appleton. He's providing for free the transportation. Here's his number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Make sure you tell him you heard about him on the radio. All right, you know, I heard someone on Fox. I didn't catch who it was. They were talking about the FBI. There's some news stories out about the FBI. An FBI here's the headline. FBI whistleblower raises fresh concerns about bank record mining, undercover agents in January 6th probe. And there's a story out that people were being investigated just for traveling to Washington that day. And, you know, President Trump had a rally, and a lot of people went to that rally. Some of you may have, I don't know. And I heard someone on Fox say what I thought was spot on involving this, that the FBI is no longer a law enforcement agency. They are a domestic intelligence agency. And doesn't it seem that way? Doesn't it seem that way? And we're just in a place, maybe we've always been this way and we didn't know it. But we're in a place now that, at least knowingly, we were not in before. And I think that's right on the money. And, you know, these Twitter file hearings yesterday, I'm not talking too much about those. I want to see some conclusions and what happens. You know, these things start out, a lot of people talking and stuff. I want to wait till they get to the meat of it. But AOC went on one of her Veruca Salt rants yesterday. If you don't get that, look up Veruca Salt. It's not the band I'm talking about. And she made reference to Hunter Biden's laptop, which I thought was an interesting thing that she said. Listen, this is AOC talking about the Hunter laptop yesterday in this Twitter hearing.
But instead, we're talking about Hunter Biden's half-fake laptop story. I mean, this is an embarrassment.
Half fake. So AOC, in her partisan way, has admitted that, at least in her mind, half of what's in the laptop and has been exposed in the laptop is true. Well, that's interesting, because I haven't seen anything come out of the laptop that doesn't involve some type of crime. This is a very interesting admission from the left. And it's the kind of admission, I don't know if it was out of anger. I don't know if it was out of stupidity, because she's often angry and she's very stupid, AOC. But she just did something that liberals, Democrats, haven't been doing. She just confirmed the authenticity of the laptop, which is great. So that means she's involved in a cover-up of the laptop. And it may have just been in a fit of rage because, you know, all these losses that we've had of great people, the one big gain we have is taking over Twitter. And, you know, the establishment and the left, you know, losing Twitter is really been a blow to them. It's really taken them in the gut pretty hard. I'm surprised they let it happen. I really am. They didn't put up as much of a fight against it as you would have expected. But Twitter was being used to drive the entire narrative of everything from the establishment, and they lost control of it. And you can tell right now going on Twitter, Twitter is a different place today than it was before Elon Musk bought it. It's like a real place where ideas are exchanged now. And, you know, you go there now, like I was talking about James O'Keefe, you know, trending this morning about this story. Things that trend on Twitter now would not have trended there a year ago. They wouldn't have been allowed to. All right, now listen, I'm going to take our bottom of the hour break on time. I went a little late in that last segment, so we can be on schedule for the last 30 minutes of today's show. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 46 years on the radio, the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number toll free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. Today's the first day that I feel I'm like 90% well today. So that's great. Maybe one more day I'll be back to 100% tomorrow. I hope so. The one thing about being sick, that is when you're well, you feel great, don't you? All right, we'll take our bottom of the hour break, come back with more after this.
Making morning radio great again.
Steve Kane Show. Hold on. Steve Kane Show. Hold on. Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane Show. Hold on. I'll be right back, guys. I got to turn the air down. It's hot. What's that? Yeah, okay. That's okay. What an idiot.
Well, the unanswered question here is, what were they thinking when they sent this balloon? Oh.
Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane Show. Hold on. I'm just reading this story. Oh my gosh. All right, welcome back. Callers on hold, stand by. Only one opening at 1-888-GO-KANE. I want to tell everyone about EET, our fence and gate repair experts. They repaired Steve's fence and gate, and they did it like the pros they are, where you can't tell they made a repair. And what I mean by that is that the gate and the fence that they repaired matches the rest of the fencing. Which it's like, for a facelift, you don't want people to say, oh, what a great facelift. You want it to look natural, you know the difference? That's what it's like with EET. You can't even tell because it matches the rest of the fencing, which is absolutely amazing. Now, they don't just do repairs, EET. If you need a new fence, if you need a new gate, they can handle that too. And they do a fine work on that as well. I've gotten great reports from listeners of ours. They work with every type of fencing too. Chain link, PVC, wood, aluminum, iron. If it's fencing, they do it. No job is too small, right? But also no job is too big. So if you have a condo community, an office complex, and you need repairs to your gate, to your fence, or maybe you need a new gate or a new fence at that commercial level, they can help you with that as well. They give free estimates, and they will beat any competitor's price. Give them a call, 561-255-1170. 561-255-1170. All right, this story, this Secretary of Defense we have, Lloyd Austin, I hate to say it this way, but this is what happens when people get through life with just getting check marks marked off of boxes for being in this position. Lloyd Austin was a general, and he is now the Secretary of Defense. And I've seen a lot of Secretaries of Defense. Secretaries of Defense typically are tough guys. Not this guy. There was one hearing with him and General Milli Vanilli. It was a press conference, and the Secretary of Defense was deferring to him, looking to him for the answers because he didn't have them. Listen to this. This is scary to me. It's about the balloon. During a portion of an interview with CBS News national security correspondent David Martin, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin stated that in response to the Chinese spy balloon that flew over America last week, the United States ensured that its nuclear bases were buttoned down and that movement was limited and communications were limited. The buttoning down applied to nuclear bases all across the United States. So, okay, now you might say to yourself, well, that's smart. Really? I want you to think about this, what he just did. He just told the Chinese that one balloon shut down communications across our entire military and across our entire nuclear arsenal. Why would you give the enemy information like that? By the way, not only does that information tell them that they can have a major effect and shut down the line of communications with just a simple balloon, but it also helps them narrow down information as to what was at this location or the other by the records of what communication was not taking place, can also help them verify locations of nuclear information. He just gave out classified information. I remember we had one of those cyber attacks from Russia when Biden was new in office. And remember, he gave this press conference and he said that he gave Putin a list of 16 things that are off limits to attack. Well, isn't everything off limits to attack? And when he gave him the list of the 16, he just told him his almost vulnerable 16 areas to cyber attack. I mean, you know, it's amazing that this country is still functioning. I mean, we have no leadership. The leadership we have is beyond incompetent. You know, I saw Austin. It was during his confirmation hearings for defense secretary, and he talked about when he was out of uniform with the guys. He was a general, and they went into some bar, and the guy in the restaurant went up to somebody else and thought they were the general, not him, and he assumed it was because he was black. No, it's because he's an idiot, and he's not commanding like you would think a general would be. What an idiot. All right, our number 1-888-GO-CANE-1. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Helen.
Oh, hey, Helen. How are you?
I'm doing just great. Well, everybody is, well, not everybody, but there's a lot of people that are afraid that this Earth, the second Earth age, is going to come to an end by a nuclear holocaust or climate change or something like that. Well, it's not written in God's Word. He's going to bring about the end of the second world age because of people, you know, fighting against Jerusalem and Israel. And Zechariah 14, verses 12 and on. And it's, you know, and he says in St. Matthew chapter 5 that the meek or the humble towards God shall inherit the earth. So the earth is not going to come to an end.
Well, okay. Helen, by the way, thanks for the call. Helen is, I don't know. This thing about Helen, okay? Helen puts me in a very awkward position hosting a show, all right? You know, when you're hosting on this program, as you can tell by the calls oftentimes, we don't screen the calls. We screen them on the air. And that's by design. You know, we have Mike here in the control room. He could answer the phones and screen the calls. But I don't like to do that. I like to take the calls screenless for a whole bunch of reasons I've talked about many times. I think it makes the show more interesting. You know, you never know what's going to happen. I don't know what's coming. But when you're hosting a show, you've got to maintain control of the discussion, even when you're taking calls screenless, okay? Even on open phone days, like Fridays are always open phone, open Mega Mic Friday. And people call in about things that some of these callers, they'll talk about things that have nothing to do with anything that's going on. And, you cut the call off because you've got to control the flow of the show if you know what you're doing in a radio show. But what the conflict with Helen that I run into, and Helen, I'm Christian, I'm Catholic, and I don't want to cut off the Bible, okay? I don't want to cut off the Word of God. I don't want to cut off the Bible. That's not a good thing. But this is not a Bible show. It's not a Christian show. And Helen puts me in this position where I feel like I really don't know how to handle Helen and her calls, right? Should I let her go on or not? Now, I talked to her about this several weeks ago, and she got more topical with her calls. as opposed to the daily Bible verse, okay? But when she does that, it's almost like I feel like if I cut her off, I'm being a bad Christian, and I don't want to be a bad. I want to be a good Christian, right? I don't want to be a bad Christian. But she puts me in this position, and you know, I'm not saying this is necessarily true with Helen, but taking calls screenless has a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. And chronic callers, they have a tactic to keep the call going as long as possible because they want to stay on the air as long as they can. And you got to know when to let them go, right? And a chronic caller, and I've dealt with all of them over the years, every type of chronic caller that you can imagine. And there's not that many stories in the, in the naked city on how to be a chronic caller, but chronic callers typically, when they sense that you're about to hang up on them, they'll say, oh, one more thing, or I got one more question, or they'll try to prolong it, and you gotta know. No, click them off. Okay? Helen has done something that no chronic caller has done before. With me that I've been doing this. It's almost like kryptonite that she brings up with me. It's almost like my kryptonite. She brings up something that she knows very well that if I cut her off, okay, I feel like I'm doing something wrong because I'm cutting off Bible verses. But on the other hand, I don't know if people really want to hear her calls and her Bible. I don't know. It's one of those strange little areas that I'm in with her and a conflict I'm in on the air with her calls. And nothing against Helen, and I'm not against the Bible or anything, believe me. But I don't know. Something I got to deal with. And I don't know. Some people tell me they like her calls. Some people tell me they turn the volume down when she's on the line. I've heard that from people. That's fine. But, if I knew, I'll tell you this. If I wasn't taking the calls screenless, okay, and I knew it was Helen, I probably wouldn't take her calls every time she called in. If I was doing calls screenless and I had a list here and it said Helen from Kansas, I would know what was coming, and I probably wouldn't take the call at all sometimes, as opposed to, I got a roulette wheel, I go to random, it's Helen. I don't know. I throw this out to you guys. You guys can give me some feedback on what you think about that. But I've talked to her about this. This is at least the third time, if not the fourth. And I feel like at this point, she's becoming maybe not becoming, maybe she already is, a chronic caller who's using this technique to keep her on the air. I don't know. It's hard to say. You never know. All right, now listen, we're going to take our break for the Gold Report. We'll come back with one last segment today. I've touched on a lot of topics, and you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far this morning. I got a couple other things I want to get to after the break. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, including your thoughts on Helen. 888-465-2631. Back after this.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right.
All right, we are back, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Actually, metals looking very good, creeping higher as we see the dollar continuing to go lower. The metals yesterday gained $1.10 on gold at $1,873.60 on the close. Silver gained 10 cents, closing at $22.25. While platinum was down $8 at $967, and palladium was down $2 at $1,572 an ounce. This morning we see gold higher at $1,882, up pretty good now for $8. Silver up 10 cents at $22.35 the ounce. Platinum up $1 at $968, and palladium down $7 at $1,565 the ounce. So gold looking really good. Gold and silver looking very good, and the market doing what it's exactly supposed to do, giving us buying opportunities and trying to scare out the weak longs, and then going right back up to newer highs.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, you don't just sell the medals, you buy them. Can you tell people some of the things that they have that are worth money that they could turn into cash or maybe turn into coins?
Buy just about anything made out of the precious metals, whether it's old jewelry, broken jewelry, silverware, watches, pocket watches, just about anything you've got laying around. And, of course, coins, currency, and rare coins. We buy all kinds of collectibles. So bring it in, we'll give you the cash.
And when it comes to jewelry, William Youngman said broken, but also old, out-of-date, god-awful, ugly jewelry, if it's made of the metals, is worth money too, right? So William Youngman opens up weekdays at 10 a.m. You can stop in. His address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can find him online at williamyoungerman.com or call him toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow. All right, back after this.
Social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Those of you on the cruise last week, I was talking about this yesterday, you guys saw me on my phone from time to time, and sometimes I was checking my email, sometimes I was checking social media, sometimes I was texting someone. But a lot of those times, I was checking out what was going on at my front door, because I've got the doorbell camera, and you can get a doorbell camera from Sloman's for free. I'm going to give you the number in a moment. When you call them, they'll tell you how you can get your free doorbell camera. You get a notification no matter where you are, and I was getting notifications. My wife was home. People were staying with her, and I got one notification, and I looked, and my father-in-law, he was out front. He was cleaning out my garage, and I called my wife. I said, what's going on? I thought the garage was clean. What's going on? And it's a nice thing to do, and it to have the ability to get a notification and see day or night what's going on at your front door is an amazing convenience, and it's also an incredible security feature, and it'll change your life. It really will. These early days this week when I was sick and I couldn't get off the couch, oh man, it saved me so much. There's deliveries coming, and I don't have to answer the door. I can see who's there. I can even talk to them through the doorbell camera and say, hey, leave the packages at the door. I'll get them later. It's a very, very nice convenience. And of course, it's hooked up to the security system. The video with night vision is in HD day and night. Things are recorded, so there's security. You know what is there, who is there, and you get a notification every time someone is there. Give Sloman's a call. They'll tell you how you can get your free doorbell camera, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio, and they'll tell you how you can get your free doorbell camera. If you're on hold, stand by. Just a couple quick things, and I'll take another call or two. Now, yesterday, I was talking about Sarah Huckabee, who I want back on the Trump train with Ron Desantis. And I saw a story today. Arkansas Dem defends Sarah Huckabee. Okay. We don't want Republicans who are being defended by Democrats, guys, okay? If you're a Republican and Democrats are defending you, you got to reevaluate what you're doing. You're doing something wrong, okay? It's very unusual. And Sarah Huckabee isn't just a regular Republican. She's a Trumplican. She came up through Trump, right? If you worked in the Trump White House and Democrats are defending you, you're doing something wrong, all right? All right, let's take some calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Linda.
Went to Anne Marie's last night.
Awesome.
Outstanding baked ziti. My husband loved the sliders. And we will be ordering our wings and jumbo pizza for Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, that sounds great.
Shared a cannoli for dessert. And Angel showed us the picture of the heart-shaped pizza and the heart-shaped ravioli with lobster. And did you and Steve go there before the cruise?
What do you mean, like right before? Steve, not with our cruise people. I know Steve stopped by and got some takeout.
by before the cruise, so he.
We didn't come by with our cruisers, no, but maybe next time we will.
Music was relaxing, and it was just a wonderful experience. Next time we'll sit outside.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. All right, thank you so much. Don't we have nice listeners? Well, most of our listeners are pretty nice. This is one of the few shows that has, the callers and the listeners actually, call in and talk about your sponsor. It's nice, and I appreciate that. And, all of you guys out there that support our sponsors, Steve and I, and of course the radio station, we thank you very much for that, because our sponsors are what make all of this possible. This is one of those things that I just can't believe is happening. Leah Thomas is back in the news, the trans swimmer. And the news story is that Leah Thomas showed their male genitalia in the locker room where the females were present. And, what I've been wondering, Leah Thomas is planning on being on the U.S. Olympic swim team, the ladies swim team. And we know Leah Thomas is a cheater who's just there to win, playing with the girls as a girl, can't compete as a boy, can't get on the U.S. male Olympic team. We know the whole story with that. I don't have to tell you. But at this point, are we now in a criminal situation if you're exposing your genitals to women in a locker room? I don't know. I think I'd get arrested for that. But this thing with Leah Thomas, is Leah Thomas really transitioning? Has Leah Thomas done more than wear women's bathing suits and grown her hair long? Are they actually going through the treatments involved with trans? Has anyone bothered to find this out? And, when the swim career is over, I'd be very curious to see if Leah Thomas continues or goes back to like a regular life. All right, good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning.
Good morning, Jay from Jersey.
Hey, Jay, turn down the volume of whatever device you're listening to me on. Okay.
It already did, man. Listen, I was calling about Huckabee. I don't know. This is my opinion. See, and this is where I feel that Republicans are pretty crackheaded. And Huckabee finally decided that Trump was a crackpot. So she's moving on. I heard yesterday when you were talking about her turning her back on Trump. She's probably realizing that boat is sunk. Y'all, the rest of y'all need to realize it's sunk.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, give me, that's very interesting. The new polls that came out show that Donald Trump is not just ahead of Biden, but all of the Republican opponents. No, it's true. It's true.
Polls said they want him out the way they want him to go sit down.
Uh-huh.
What are you mega going to do when y'all realize Trump is going? I don't know who y'all going to get behind and praise, because he's getting ready to go sit down in the nursing homes.
Uh-huh.
Want him anymore.
Who's the they? Who doesn't want Trump anymore?
The only person that wants Trump is you nut.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one?
Super nut. You're a super nut behind Trump. And another man praise another man like you before. I've never seen that. You praise him like you go with him.
Like I go with him?
Like you go with him. You praise.
What does that mean? Like we're gay?
You sound it sometimes.
Well, let me ask you, as a liberal, as a Democrat, what's wrong with someone being gay? Why would being gay be an insult?
No, I didn't say nothing was wrong with being gay. I just said you were.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay. So if Donald Trump and I were like gay lovers, you wouldn't have a problem with that?
You wouldn't mind being gay with him. You love him too much.
Mm-hmm.
You're a man, and why do you talk about you love this man? You give your life up for him. Come on, that's too much.
Let me ask a serious question. I'll give you the real answer. Why do you think that I love Trump so much? What about Trump do I love as much as I love, in your opinion, as a listener, as an observer?
You love his prejudiceness. You love the way prejudice. And
who's he prejudiced against? Who's he prejudiced against?
it's against anybody who's not white.
Can you give me an example of him discriminating against non-white people?
When he came down the escalator and said that he wanted to get rid of all these crazy Mexicans, which I kind of agree with that a little bit.
A week ago, I was in Curacao, which is an independent nation in the Caribbean. And when I put my YouTube video up this week, and you'll have an opportunity to see this, those in our group had to wait outside a border crossing with a fence that was barbed wire with spikes on top of it, and we had to produce U.S. government ID, and I was also required to bring my passport along to enter Curacao for a couple of hours. Are they racist down there? It's a black country. Are they racist against white people asking us for ID before we enter their country?
I have no idea about that.
Well, why are they asking me for documents? I mean, they must be racist and just don't like white people.
I don't know if that's what you feel. I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Maybe countries have borders for a reason, and have
I believe in it having a border. You think I believe in all these Mexicans that's coming across the border? They sending them up here to Jersey and New York. You think I?
Oh, now you got a problem because they're coming in your neighborhood. By the way, not everyone who's Hispanic is Mexican. You know that, right? Well, then why do you call them all Mexicans? That sounds like stereotyping.
Guatemalan. I know. I'm just saying there's too many at one time.
Too many Hispanics. There's too many Hispanics.
They feel that everything should be free to them.
But okay, so you're telling me there's too many Hispanics in Jersey right now, where you're calling me from, but Donald Trump's the bigot.
Donald Trump is the bigot.
Well, how many Mexicans are okay? You say there's too many at one time.
Just saying we can't afford to take care of.
You pay income tax? You pay income taxes?
You got doing real. Oh, I almost cursed.
How much did you pay in income tax last year? I didn't ask you how much you make. Well, give me an estimate. I asked first. Yeah, okay. All right, I appreciate that. Oh, boy. Good morning, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning. Once. Twice. All right, there we go. 3 times a lady. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. He said there's too many. See, this is an interesting thing. See, that's like talking to Eric Adams there, that last caller. They don't mind being a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state as long as no one seeks sanctuary. And he just said there's too many Mexicans in Jersey. Oh, my goodness. If that's not bigotry, I don't know what is. You know, it's an interesting thing when you talk to liberals long enough, their true colors come out, don't they? Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, we're a sanctuary city until you come here for sanctuary. Then all of a sudden, we're shipping you to Canada. You know, it's a funny thing when we were in that border at Curacao. We just waited in line. We did what we were told. And that is very true. They did have spikes on the fence. And I had my daughter take a picture of me climbing the fence. And we just couldn't enter the country. That's right. We couldn't get on the ship without our passport. And we're just going in on a 3-hour tour on the island. And we got to show all those documents, not to set up life. Good morning, you're on the air. No, it's not over yet. It's not over yet.
I thought that guy was going on forever and ever and ever. He is a moron. He's stupid and he's a liar. Trump is not a bigot. He did more for the blacks and the Hispanics than any recent president in history. So he ought to check his facts before he runs.
Well, I think the big problem, the big problem the last caller has with Trump is that it was kind of hard to be a bum and loaf through life with Trump because black employment was at its highest rate in the history of employment statistics. So he had to get off the couch and get a job, move out of his mom's house. Hey, listen, thanks for the call. Oh my goodness. Strange and weird calls today, but tomorrow is open phones on Friday. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Don't forget, TrueOldiesFLA.com, our radio station website. The entire show is uploaded on the podcast page about an hour after we go off the air every day. All right? Take care, everyone. Have a great day. God bless America. And God bless Donald Trump. Back tomorrow. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you soon.